This should be fun. Hello and welcome along to the first instalment of what we're going to call Project 69. Hopefully a load of episodes of entertaining episodes of us restoring this 1969 Ford F100, affectionately known as Penny. I'll turn this around so you can see a little bit. We'll have a walk around. So it is a 1969 Ford F100. Oh, that's a bloody wall, isn't it? So it's sat on slot mags, 1969 long bed. We've had this, or we've been the custodians of this. You never really own them, do you? You're just looking after them for the next generation, as they say, for 2 years. So this video really is just to get everyone up to date with what has happened over the 2 years of owning this and caring for it. Trying to straighten out some of these things. So we've been to a few shows and a few bits and pieces, and we always meant to film everything as we went along, but as it goes, you get carried away, fixing things as they need to be fixing, doing stuff as it needs to be done, and we haven't caught up with it. So that is kind of what this is. The light balance is terrible there, isn't it? So it's just getting trying to catch everyone up really, and see where we want to go, and we're going to eventually paint it ourselves, so everyone wants to see us cock that up. You can see I'm moving backwards and forwards. I'm cutting this because I just keep getting everything so wrong. The first thing we did when we started moving in here was we changed this liner. So this was a green, ripped all that down as a part of all the stuff that we found in here, the pennies and stuff. We found a big mouse nest up here. We made this ourselves. It hasn't aged overly well, but it looks a bit better. It probably looks a lot better in the video. All of this chrome, we stripped down and painted it sort of like a matte black to dull down everything in here. The sun visors were a cream colour, so we got rid of all of that as well. Like I say, we're going to have to redo all of that. So the floor, we've changed the floor. We've been through a few iterations of carpet and stuff in the floor, but it did originally have the vinyl, the plastic flooring. That's all gone now. It all broke up as soon as we take it out, so there's no good in doing anything with it. We've got a green carpet in here from Rock Auto. The blessing that is Rock Auto, and they can deliver things from America to the UK in 48 hours, which is borderline unbelievable. I drink every time there's a comment below about Russian steel, though, when anyone mentions Rock Auto at the moment. The floor's rusty. I don't think there's any way of getting around that. The truck's been known as Rusty Penny since we've had it. It's not bad. I think people would consider it bad, but this was never supposed to be a nut and bolt restoration. It's supposed to be, let's buy a truck and have some fun with it and use it. One day we'll cut them out, one day we'll replace them. So it's not too bad. This side's a lot better. The passenger side, I think you could probably flintstone that if you really put some effort into it. But I'll stick some pictures up around here. But we bronze sealed all of that, painted all that, slapped that down. And one thing noticed driving this back, an hour and a half back, the first time I ever drove it was fucking loud in here. As you can imagine, it's all tin. I mean, it's metal. I mean, there's no sound deadening in here at all. So there's a combination of cheap sound deadening and good sound deadening in here. There's a couple of panels up here to try and take the stuff off of the roof, or the resonance off the roof. That worked really well. You've probably seen many other people do that anyway. But the floor, took the bench out, redid all the floor, got all that covered, and then put the carpet on top. Really, carpet fitted really well. Most of the stuff now, because I mean these are 50 years old or whatever they are, all the models and stuff are all pretty good, so there's nothing to be dealt with there. So this is a 4-speed manual car from standard, but as you'll see when I spin this round in a second, the gear stick is in the wrong place. So the gear stick is further back, so there's a big old hole in the transmission tunnel at the start. So this was originally a 4-speed manual. It's now still a 4-speed manual, but it's a 4-speed manual out of a 72 Ford Galaxy. I haven't actually checked the year combo adds up on that, so feel free to correct me, but it definitely is a 4-speed top loader. It does about 15-ish odd mile an hour in first gear, so it's a bit more car orientated. That said, I wouldn't know what any of these would like to drive anyway. I drive a basic bitch Golf R during the week, so I mean, they're about as close as self-driving cars get nowadays, automatic VWs. So this is a very much chalk and cheese, very much more difficult to drive. Rewarding though, if you feel like you're driving something, whereas you know that you can go around 4 roundabouts and you don't realise you've done it, whereas this you're driving it. You know, back in an era where just being able to go to the next town was a novelty, not, you know, doing it in relative comfort, towing a couple of sheep in the back or whatever you were doing. So this is, I mean, the carpet's quite roughed up here, but so this is where the gear stick's supposed to go, up here where my foot is, but it's up here now. So it's a bit close up here. It's got a hair shifter, but it's a nice short throw. Like I say about it being bloody loud in here, I mean the radio doesn't work, but I mean you wouldn't be able to hear it even if it did, to be perfectly honest. I mean we put new speakers in it. There's some new speakers underneath the seats with an amp, but we'll have a look at the wiring another point because it's not fit for public eyes at the moment. One other thing we did, which was pretty cool, is we took all of the perspex off of the dashboard, took it all apart. And that is just a thin piece of perspex from Amazon, of all places, heated over the lamp we've got in the garage, and just bent around. It, you know, does a hell of a job. I'll put a picture up of what it looks like at night. It's an absolute revelation in comparison to what it was. I mean, that said, none of these gauges fucking work. I mean, literally none of them. Some of them worked when we got it. I mean, the speedo worked for about 1.5 miles, but the speed's irrelevant. You know, you're not going fast enough to do any. I say not doing any damage, but I think you could turn the world backwards if you crashed into something in this. But fuel gauge is now over here. We changed all the sender and the tank and everything, and then you got your classic Bosch. They came over from America, so they were imported. And then you've got your Bosch tacho up here, which is, I suppose, quite handy. I mean, not that you're going to be redlining this thing, but you know, just in case you ever did. There's that. I mean, there's not an awful lot more to say about it. I mean, the classic Hooligan. The wing mirror keeps falling off. This is the horn, because this horn doesn't work. We've got a new dash pad to go in here. This one is nice and cracked. We've already got that, and you'd never guess, but it's green. That's just what I should say as well. We got the new seat covers. Well, Kim's made those. They're a two-tone of green and green. That you wouldn't be surprised. You know, love a bit of green. So this is the FE390. We measured the stroke length, because every 360 is a 390 when it's for sale, and that all comes up good. It does look, I'll stick the picture on screen when we bought it. It does look an awful lot different in here, so we've definitely done a fair amount of stuff I've even got to write down. Thermostat, painted the rocker covers, leads, plugs, many other bits and pieces. A new carburetor on here. I'll explain all of this in bits and pieces in a minute when we go through it all individually, but there's plenty of stuff that actually happened in here. But yeah, it's relatively easy to work on. YouTube is your friend. It's not my friend right now because this is really, really awkward. But yeah, there's plenty of videos. They're really easy to work on. Do it if you're having an iron about it. You have to. So steering was the first thing we did. It was the first thing we noticed was I'm not going to say impossible because we drove it an hour and a half home, but it wasn't great. The geniuses that they are. I wonder if this got Russian steel in it. You know. Hey ho. So new steering box. New steering box was about £150. I mean, I don't think you can knock at that. It was 14 kilo and it's delivered in 48 hours, which is magic as far as I'm concerned. New rag joint. Again, put some pictures up here and stuff. We didn't really film an awful lot of it at the time, so we just got pictures. But good God, did that make a difference? Unbelievable. The old one, the adjustment screw on here, the worm drive, it was pretty much all the way in. I don't think it helped. Whenever it's been driven, it's got these, it had BFGs on it on the front as well, so they were slightly bigger than those Maxxis. I think driving that without power steering just absolutely annihilated the box, but that made a massive difference. The only real big deal with changing that was getting the pitman arm off. It was just so tight, it was ridiculous. I think it's like 200 Newton meters to get it on, whatever that is in Imperial. We went through 2 or 3 pullers and all sorts. It was quite an emotional task. There's some cool pictures though. I stick the picture of me sat on here eating a pizza. It's pretty good. So you spied down here, but as well as the new oil filter and stuff, and there's the new lines for the. It's all within here with some Nomex braiding, and this is a new fuel pump. So I'll pop the video up here. So what we're doing is, when I put this new oil line in, without the protection around it and stuff that comes up here, it's quite funny to watch the oil go up and down, and I didn't wonder if it was leaking, so I got Kim to lean in there in video, watch the oil come up, make sure it wasn't leaking at this end. So I'll put the video on screen of what actually happened, and it's fairly dramatic. But yeah, so that's fuel coming out of there. So the back of these mechanical fuel pumps, there's a weep hole, so if it can, you know, dribble out the back and stuff, but there's a diaphragm in it. If the diaphragm leaks, essentially what that's doing is just pumping fuel out the back, from what I understand, and that was what's happening in that video, is that it's literally pumping pressurized fuel onto the you know, manifold, well, just under the manifold really, so it might have been, I don't know, atomizers. Could have ended a lot differently, to be fair, and yeah, that's why there's a fire extinguisher in there now. That's why this is here now. I'm back and I have a pen. So originally, I'll put the picture up here somewhere, this had a Edelbrock Pro, I think it is, on here. The triangle one, we call it the filter of death. The foam in it sits above the carb, and when it wears, it can just get sucked straight down in the carb. So changed it out for one of these. I didn't know any of this, I just got told all this. And changed all this out. And changing that out, I can't remember what I was messing around with. I think it might have been the throttle spring. I don't remember. I started it and it just revved to the moon. And the accelerator pump, the lever, I don't know, the plunger had snapped. Apparently the age, and they just crack, and it just dropped, and it was just essentially went to full throttle. Scared the Jesus out of me. Priced up a kit for that. It was about 100 quid for a rebuild kit. On top of that, this has got, well, it had a manual choke, so it was a cable that comes out of the choke. It never felt to me like it went all the way out. It wouldn't, on the dash, it wouldn't go all the way out, which may have made sense with how it was running. It was running very fuely, it stank, it was horrific. In trying to fiddle around with that, and then trying to rebuild that, and very much believing what Junkyard Digs and all those guys say, that a rebuild carb's never the same. There was a company in the UK that had an Edelbrock Performer 4-barrel. So it originally had a Carter on 4-barrel, and from what I understand, the Edelbrock is a direct replacement for it. So it was an investment, but straight on, ran absolutely perfect. Only thing I did have to adjust was the throttle spring position is supposed to be, it's not supposed to be here, it's supposed to be the other end. This is where it was, and it probably wasn't tight enough, so I bent the bracket up, bolted it to the casting here of the intake, and it's nice and tight here now. Still works, it's just, you know, pushing and pulling rather than pulling and pushing. What was I saying about fueling? Touching on fueling, so I think one of the reasons was the choke was constantly still out a little bit. But down by here, this kiddie, it's got a Petronix flamethrower on it. So it's had the points removed and it's electronic ignition. So as we saw inside, there is a Bosch tacho. So I will, let's turn this around so it makes it a bit easier. So the Bosch tachos, well, all tachos actually, again, this is all stuff that I didn't know but I do now. The Bosch tachos run from the negative on the coil. So they take their signal from the negative, so they know how many RPM they're doing by how many every sparks that this is producing. Sparks this is producing. I love it, I love it. You can tell I'm not a natural mechanic, can't you? Anyway, whilst wiring that up, it did occur to me that there was only one cable on the positive and there was 3 cables on the negative. But at that point, I think we'd maybe done, I don't know, maybe 100 miles. So, I mean, you know, the idea of it being backwards seemed a bit peculiar. So I didn't think that was right, but upon taking the cables off, it's actually embossed on the unit with a plus and a minus. And I could, as far as I can tell, they were around the wrong way. Change them round, like a different truck. Honestly, like a different truck. fired straight up, smooth, clean. The fuely smell almost completely vanished. And I wonder whether it was running on all 8. It can't have been, to be perfectly honest. And it's funny, when we did the exhausts, I ordered these new NGK leads, and we plugged them all in, did them one at a time to make sure that we were, you know, getting 1 to 1, 2 to 2, and all that good stuff, rather than having to figure it all out. And it wouldn't start. When it did start, it was running like a bag of spanners. It sounded like it was maybe on 1 or 2. Since changing that coil round, put these back on again, fires straight up, runs like a dream. You know, touch wood, runs like a dream. But yeah, weird one. Like I say, you know, the problem with something this old, and especially with wiring wise, is you just never know what other people have done. You know, and half the, when I was looking into the regulator, half the cables were the different colours than what the manual said they were, so you never really know what you're even, you know, you're looking for voltage in some places and it's not there, you know, and it's only as good as the work the last person did anyway. So, but yeah, so that's all been tidied up. So we moved all of, you know, all of these, right, go down here, so tidied all some of these cables up, put some F-wrap, that is from eBay, before anyone says anything. Tidied up over there, that's the wiring to the amp, so we'll deal with that another day. That's the starter solenoid. Not that I ever want anyone to steal this, but you can if you short that out over those two, I think. Just start it. This has got an isolator in it, which is a nice touch. And then we've got the new wiring, which is a big shout out to Will, because that's off his camper van to the 1 wire. So yeah, I mean, bit of a funny story with this, really. So there's 2 different size thermostats on the FEs. The early ones have the bigger one. I may get this wrong way around, I don't think I will, but the early ones have got the bigger one. So I ordered a kit, which is what this casting's for the smaller one. Didn't really know what I was ordering. Stuck one in the basket, ordered it. Turned up, and the hole inside here is too big to hold the thermostat. So I was like, oh, buggering hell. I just used the old one. So I got the old one back on, and I found an Edelbrock, I can't think it was a performance thermostat. It ran a couple of degrees different. I can't remember, cold or hot, I don't remember. Bought that. I think that kit for the thermostat housing and a new thermostat was £9. And I ordered the Edelbrock thermostat, and I think that was £30 on its own. And then I put that in, and as soon as I tightened up these bolts, it cracked the casting of the original casting. So I was, oh, Jesus Christ. So I took that out, and then, as you can see by the you know, the cardinal sin of of some red RTV, this has got the one that's too small fitted, stuck in essentially, and it's been fine. It opens up, you know. Like I say, this isn't, you know, even if it gets stuck sideways or something, it's still going to work, isn't it? Hey ho, it could be worse. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything we've done in here, and just tidied it up, really, to be perfectly honest. I mean, the master cylinder, you see, there's no power brakes or anything on this, so it's just, it stops as strong as your legs are, or as good as the tyres grip. Yeah, I mean, it looks fairly smart from a distance. I mean, I've painted some of these bits, just rattle canned it. You can see where the original paint's different. This is out of something. It's supposed to be a bag. Not that that bothers me. It's supposed to be a jack in here. But yeah, original bonnet hinges. None of this, ow, none of this hydraulic stuff. They're alright. I wouldn't want this bonnet dropping on your head, mind, but yeah. Hello. So, I'm an aircraft electrician by trade, so wiring doesn't normally bother me, and shouldn't, I suppose. But at some point in putting these headers on, the alternator failed. So what you're looking at there is a new 1 wire. That in itself didn't solve all the problems. So the deeper unit, because these are internally regulated, the old classic ones are externally regulated, which bolt up there, are deeper. So this, where it was fitted here, would hit the block. So what we had to do was swing it further out that way, away from the block. And I made, which I'll film again in a minute, I'll put it up there because I'm obviously lying on the floor. a bracket. So I had some mild steel, but no real way to cut any of it. So I just ended up chain drilling it. So I chain drilled the whole bracket out, and then it swung it out about 2 or 3 inches further away from the block, which has worked. But it did mean needing a new belt, which is a bit loose actually now underneath it. But yeah, so that is that. I enjoyed this camera angle because this is really hurting my neck. I'm lying on a skateboard. Here's a better view of this bracket. So this is the original position, and that's as far as it used to go. So you could only slide it out to here. So this was hitting the block here. So this whole piece here, we chain drilled out and sanded out. Sanded out? What the fuck does that even mean? I got bombasted files from B&Q, to be perfectly honest, and I ground the living shite out of that. These bolts aren't in safety, but then again, it's not an airplane, so yeah, we're all good. So originally it just had the standard manifolds into a cherry bomb back box. We changed that out. It wasn't loud enough, so we got a Summit Racing kit of Flowmaster headers with some thrush mufflers. In my opinion, it's still not loud enough, but I'll put some videos of what it actually sounds like with just the open headers, which is just silly. So it couldn't be left like that. But that was a good day. It was good fun. I put some pictures up on here and some videos. Tim and Dave both helped with that. We snapped 6 studs, which most people have all of them snap, but you know, wasn't too bad. And they all conveniently snapped sort of in alternating patterns. So we just bolted them up. We tried to drill them out. Couldn't touch them. I wasn't going to pull the engine. The old ones came off and they didn't even have a gasket in it. Is it fixed? No. Is it better? Kind of.
Be anticipating some kind of penalty.
Paintwork wise, this is what we thought is a mallard green. I don't think it is a mallard green, if I'm perfectly honest. I think it's just whatever someone had available. Actually looks really good on this camera. The bed, it's seen better days, to be perfectly honest. So it is this. It's got a sort of rat look to it. I quite like it. But yeah, we want to respray it, sort of a preventative measure, to be honest with you. This is a 2000, is it 2000? Oh no, 97. Student pass at the OSU, so that's the University of Oregon State University. So we did originally think, because it was painted green, that it was from Oregon, as in the Ducks. So painted green, so got these made. It was only afterwards that we got told that OSU is the Beavers and they're orange. So it's a bit unusual for me really why someone would paint a green truck green. But I guess that's just something that's lost to the tales of time, I suppose. No one's ever going to know. I mean, once they come out of the US, there's no history that can be traced with them. They're registered state to state, so well, from what I'm told, there's no way you'd be able to find out. So if anyone does know how you could find out, please, I don't know, try and let me know. But she's a bit rusty, hence the rusty penny. The bonnets go, there's all the sand sits up in this ball nose. I think this bonnet's gone completely, to be completely honest. But we'll figure out what we can do. We'll fill it in. It'll be all right. Like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be all right. And I mean, it is all right. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So it's on these. Come back around this side. It's on these slot mags. So they're kind of, I mean, they are period correct. They're 70s, aren't they, slot mags? I have given them a polish up, but they do need another going over. You can see loads of places where the original boxwood is coming through. So this car was originally boxwood green, which is an awesome colour, along the bottom, and then it was the Wimbledon white on the top. So that's what colour we're going to do it again. I don't know whether we're going to save this stripe the bump wood. Right, one of my pet peeves, someone's going to have to tell me if I'm keeping these, because I don't want to. They're too big, you can't see anything out of them. And like this one's got 6 points of contact, it's ridiculous. I've walked into them too many times, I don't know, sort of. I mean, it's a farm truck, I get it, but it's just a bit too agricultural for me. I'm not sure I'm a fan, let alone what's going on with this. It's crazy. So it's got some cool patina on it, to be honest. I quite like that, but you can see all the red primer and stuff coming through it. These, do ignore the rust next to it, but these are 3D printed. A friend Dom made these. They're only fitted to trucks fitted with the 390 in 6970 or 69. I'll double check that and put it on screen if I'm wrong. But they're unobtainium, you can't buy them. And if they do, you're talking 100 quid for one, and you don't know what condition it's going to be in. So he modelled those and 3D printed them, and we've got some Warhammer paint and printed them up. So probably have to knock them off when we respray it and get them back on again. But they really set the side off, and they're really cool. That's just it's a big block Ford of the generation, apart from when they went a lot bigger. So what next? Tyres, diff gasket, and paint it. Paint it's going to be a long thing, but we want to do it before Rock and Ribs in July. So yeah, I mean, until next time. I mean, I mentioned Kim a few times, but I've no idea where she is.
Some kind of penalty.
Back inside the cab, this is a custom cab, which is a trim level, it's a mid-trim level, so it comes with this wheel. Horn doesn't work. I can't remember anything I was supposed to say. I've written all this down, and I can't remember any of it as I'm going along. Isn't that ridiculous?